Hey, what's up? I'm Tyler Goodson, and you're listening to my episode on For the Athlete.
You're listening to For the Athlete, a podcast aimed at humanizing the athlete by giving them a platform to control their own narrative and tell their life stories. As always, here's your host, Brooks Huber.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to For the Athlete. I'm Brooks Huber, and today you guys are in for a great episode. I'm joined by former high school Georgia Football Player of the Year, Iowa Hawkeye standout, and current Colts running back, Tyler Goodson. Tyler, welcome on to the show. How are you doing?
I appreciate that, man. I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Hey, can't complain. But yeah, we have a great episode on for you guys today. Make sure to like, subscribe, wherever you're listening to this from, do accordingly. And how are you liking your first 2 years in the NFL? Like, what's the biggest adjustment from college to the pros?
Yes, I'm liking it very much. Going to the NFL is a surreal moment, and that's what everybody that plays this sport or any other sport tries to get to is a professional level. So it's definitely a surreal moment for me. And to me, the difference from college to the NFL is basically just how smart guys is and how well they know the game. To me in college, it was like a lot of guys that did love the game, but then there was just some guys that was just they're just enjoying the moment, if you know what I mean. So when I got to the league, it's like, man, these guys know the game very well, and they really study the game, which makes them play faster because the game is moving slow for them. So that's really the difference for me, and I try my best to pick parts from different type of vets in the league and see how they think and how they move, and just try to learn from them and try to become a pro myself.
Yeah, I mean, luckily you're sitting in the same running back room as Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor dominated with Wisconsin. He's dominating in the league. What part of his game do you like the most?
Honestly, his capability to make people miss. He has a good feel for the game and how to attack a defender's angle and how to get them unbalanced and to get them stop their feet. So that's a really outstanding part of his game that stand out to me, and also his patience. He's a very patient back, and he understands the scheme of the run game, which also helps him set up blocks and open holes for him to get through. And we also have a great O-line, so the way he implements his game and sets up different blocks for them to do their job and make him successful is amazing to see. So I try to do everything I can to soak that in.
Next thing I want to talk to you about is your early days playing football. You grew up in Georgia, where football is obviously big. Were you always into football at a young age, or what other sports were you playing?
Yes, sir. I was always in football. I also played other sports. I ran track growing up, played a little bit of baseball, played basketball, and that was pretty much it. But I played those sports probably till my junior year of high school, and then I was completely focused on football.
Here we go. Well, yeah, so you were a team captain as a junior and senior in football, but you also lettered in baseball, basketball, and track. How did having those other sports kind of help prepare you for college and what you would experience in the NFL?
I say it just really kept me in shape, kept my body moving, kept me active, and different sports has different type of movements, and so I think all those sports played a role in football and separated me from other athletes that didn't play multiple sports, because it's just once you're playing multiple sports, I feel like for me, like your body is more fluid and more loose to go out there and make more plays. So I feel like just playing multiple sports just separates you from an athletic standpoint.
And yeah, you were a state champion in 2017, 7A state champion, and you did it with a familiar face too, with current Colts receiver Josh Downs. What's your relationship with him like? I mean, did you guys stay in touch over the years? He went UNC, you went Iowa.
Most definitely.
Is it kind of surreal to be on the same team again?
Yes, sir. That's my brother. That's my brother. We practically grew up together. Him and my brother are best friends. So he was always at our house. I was always at his house with him and his family. So we was always chilling together. So it's definitely crazy to see us be on the same team from high school winning the state championship together to now being in the NFL and trying to go win a Super Bowl together. And I told him, we talk about it all the time, and it's amazing to see, and it's definitely coming to realization once, like, after the season and, like, you're able to enjoy the fruits of your labor with him, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a surreal moment.
I mean, yeah, I was reading up on that, and I was like, how cool. You have this guy that you've known your entire life, you grew up with him, and now you're like, hey, we're achieving our career dreams.
Definitely, most definitely. It's definitely cool because you see the work. You see all the time he done put into the game. You see how much he done studied, how much he done worked on his craft, and he done seen the same thing I done as well off the field. So it's once you go through workouts together and build a bond, it's just amazing to see, and it makes you want to play with each other even more. For sure.
Yeah, it's like the Colts were able to scout him from his time at North Carolina. North Carolina was able to scout him from his time in high school, but you were there for the whole thing. So and that's awesome that you had a familiar face go into Indianapolis. We're going to talk about how you got there
Yeah.
in a couple of minutes.
Cool.
But let's talk now about high school to college. You went to Iowa. You were phenomenal there.
Yes.
What sold you on Iowa, and why did you choose it over the other schools you had offers from?
So at the time, I had a teammate who was a senior and that had signed to Iowa. His name was Johnny McDonald. He played linebacker. And he would always tell me when Iowa offered me, like, you got to come up here and see it for yourself. Like, Iowa is not what you think it is. So I gave it a chance. I went up there. And honestly, it felt like home. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of cornfields, animals, and just country things to do. But once you get into the college town of Iowa City, it's actually its own downtown, its own city, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I went up there, met a couple guys on the team. They was cool people. The coaches kept it real with me and told me what it was, how many backs they had coming in, and where they think I would be coming in, and how they think I would fit in the system. And I just fell in love with it, and it felt like home. And so that's how that whole situation came about.
Before that visit, was that even on your radar per se, or what was your dream school to go to?
So I'm originally from Gastonia, North Carolina, and UNC was my dream school. And I went up to North Carolina probably about 3 times for 2 visits and a camp, and they never gave me the offer, so I just left it alone. But most of my schools that offered me was pretty much in the Big Ten, in the Midwest. So I knew I was pretty much going to be somewhere in the cold or around that area. And Iowa was just the school that stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you picked the right school, it looks like, because you played phenomenal there.
Yes.
You were the first ever true freshman to lead the team in rushing yards.
Yes, sir.
How were you able to have such an early impact with that team?
Well, that's due to the guys that was ahead of me. We had a couple of vet guys in there, Torin and Makai Sargent. Torin Young and Makai Sargent, that was there for a couple years before me. So they had a bunch of game experience and whatnot. So when I came in, Coach Foster and the assistant Coach LeBath helped me with the playbook, and then Makai and Torin will also help me with the playbook just to get caught up with the speed of things. So when I got in there, it was just a matter of me taking advantage of my opportunity. And along with that, I had guys in front of me like Tyler Linderbaum, AJ Alaric, Tristan Wirfs, and a bunch of other guys on the line that helped the running backs have a lot of success during my time there. So that just says everything is in itself.
I mean, hey, yeah, they talk about Iowa being a tight end school, but you guys produce some good talent everywhere else too.
Most definitely.
Cooper DeJean, I thought he was going to be a Colt, if I'm being honest with you. I thought he was going to be a Colt. I was waiting for him to go there. You guys got a great edge rusher instead.
Most definitely.
So and a great receiver and Mitchell too, who are going to make some great impacts. Let's now talk about, so you balled out in college. Now you're heading into the NFL draft. Why did you feel like it was necessary for you to leave after your junior year?
I honestly feel like I did everything I could do, performance-wise, to be able to go into the NFL and get drafted. But at the end of the day, that wasn't in God's plans. And the draft didn't go how I wanted to go, and that's okay. But I just took that to the chin, put a chip on my shoulder, and that's what motivates me day in and day out. because I know what type of player I am and I know what I can do on the football field. It's just a matter of time and a matter of me just being patient.
Well, yeah, so what were your expectations? What were you hearing as far as where you could possibly be drafted at? Because like you
Yes.
mentioned, you ended up going undrafted.
Most definitely. I was hearing late fourth, fifth round. That's pretty much what I was hearing. I heard a couple things about being undrafted as well, but most of it was fourth, fifth round. So that was my expectation going into it. And as the draft went by, I was getting multiple calls during the draft, but none of those calls were the calls I wanted. So just my expectation going in was definitely just to get drafted. But that, like I said before, that wasn't in God's plan. And I took that on the chin, and I always carry a chip on my shoulder for that.
I mean, yeah, it's every kid's dream to get drafted, but I think as like the later rounds progress, you almost want it to become an undrafted free agent just so you get to pick where you go. Because in the later round, they're just drafting for value, even if they have a ton of guys already at that position.
Right.
So I mean, being able to pick where you go can be a huge advantage in your career. And you ended up picking the Green Bay Packers as an undrafted free agent. What made you confident that that's where you wanted to be, and what other offers were you entertaining?
I had a couple offers: Chargers, Pittsburgh, and a couple others. I think maybe the Raiders, and that's all I can remember right now. But I picked Green Bay just because I knew they had two great running backs I could learn from: Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. And I know they like running backs that can not only run the ball, but that can catch the ball. And I feel like that's one of the things that stand out in my game, that I can go out there and catch the ball and run routes as well. So I feel like that was just a great fit for me, not to only be in the scheme, but to go in there and learn from two veteran running backs.
Yeah, I mean, those running backs are phenomenal people to learn from. What type of lessons do you learn from them with your 1 year with the Packers?
That football is still football. The game is always going to be the game, no matter how much X and O's are taught. It's still going to be the game. And that's what I learned when I got my first opportunity to play against Pittsburgh, that football is football. It's obviously different on different levels. It's different speed, different knowledge, just different play style in general. But it's still football. It's just still football.
Well, yeah. So after that point, you were with the Packers, and then you hit free agency. How did signing with the Colts happen? And what were the talks leading up to that?
Yeah. So going into preseason with Green Bay, I had hurt my AC joint, and it put me out for the rest of the preseason. So I spent all 3 preseasons in Green Bay. And then the last preseason game, they had released me, and I was probably in Green Bay for like a week and a half or so. And then that's when I started getting workouts. I had worked out with the Giants, and then after the Giants, I had worked out with the Colts. Pretty much I had worked with the Giants. They told me some good news. They had wanted to wait till they play the game, see if they had any injuries or whatnot, to see if they wanted to bring me back. So I went to Indianapolis the next day or so, worked out with them, and they signed me, and that was that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you were able to go to Indianapolis. I think they're a little bit better run organization. Mm-hmm. I really love their GM and everything that they have there.
Yes, sir.
And Indianapolis seems like a cool city as well.
Definitely.
It's a little bit off the grid compared to New York. When you're bouncing from active roster to practice squad, back to active roster, practice squad, does that take a toll on you or bother you? How do you mentally go about that?
It could take a toll on you if you let it. Honestly, I just kept praying about it, talked to my family and the ones that's closest to me and the ones I love the most, and just kept taking it day by day. I knew my time would come. It was just a matter of time. And that's really how I went about the situation. stay positive and keep getting thoughts out of my head.
I mean, yeah, that type of mentality that you have is why I think you're going to be going places in the NFL and you're going to have a long career. Because not many people have that type of mentality. You always keep your chin up, and I respect that a lot of you, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that.
Wait, so you didn't really play the first half of the season, but the second half for the Colts, you got a lot of touches, a lot of snaps. That game against the Steelers, where you had a career high in rushing yards, how did that help your confidence moving forward?
It definitely boosts your confidence. I feel like anybody that goes in there and just makes one or a couple plays, it automatically boosts your confidence and gives you momentum going into the next week. Because now it's like, okay, I got that release off my shoulder. All right, I got my first game off. I got game experience. Now I know what it's like. So now I can calm down, relax, and play the game I know. Because, once you get in there, like, the first time on a new level, it's like everything, I wouldn't say everything is moving fast, but it is, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
100%. What was your welcome to the NFL moment, either, I guess, with the Packers last season or when you're able to get in some NFL games with the Colts this year?
I'd probably say I had two NFL moments. One was my first preseason game against San Francisco. I had caught like a little toss. I had got probably about 10, 15 yards on the play. And as I was breaking safety from the backside, came all the way across. And as I'm running, DB tried to like chop my legs, and I tried to like leave my feet and jump over him. And as I jumped, the safety was just coming to like knock my head off, and it was moving in slow motion. And I'm like, for the kill, and I got killed. So that was my first moment. And I'll probably say my so my second moment, it's probably against Pittsburgh. Is just when I lined up, looking at the defense, I see T.J. Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Patrick Peterson, just veterans that I grew up watching. And so I'm like, when I'm seeing them, I'm just like, man, like I'm really here, like on the field with these guys that I grew up watching, and it's just a real moment.
I don't know how you do that, lining up right on the other side of T.J. Watt. I would be scared straight to be within like 10 yards of him, let alone that close.
Yeah, man.
Like that,
no fear.
You can't have any fear, but no, that dude is huge. And when he's running at you, it's not a friendly run. It's like he wants to take your head off. Oh my goodness.
That's why I run as fast as I can so he can't touch me.
That's a great mentality to have.
Most definitely.
The best players in the NFL learn from adversity, and you faced some of your own this year in that Week 18 game where you and Minshew couldn't connect. How were you able to learn to block out the noise and stay true to yourself with all of the, I guess, the outside noise that was coming?
I just tell myself like that moment doesn't define me. It's football. Things are going to happen. Mistakes are going to happen. I want to make every play. But at the end of the day, we're all not perfect. And we're all going to make mistakes. So we all just going to take that at chin and move forward from it. And that wasn't my mentality. Talk to the people that was closer to me. Mom, dad, family, friends. Said a prayer. The next day came about. Moved on. That's all I can do because I can't get it back.
Great mentality. I mean, God has your back, man. I mean, he always does.
Most definitely.
And,
Most definitely.
I was really upset with people's reaction to that because, I mean, football is a team game. It comes down to how many, like 100 plays?
Yeah.
So putting everything on one, I've never understood it. But hey, well, I'm glad you had that mentality about it, and you're going to have an amazing year 3 in the NFL this upcoming year. Let's now talk a little bit outside of football. If you weren't playing football, what would you like your career to look like?
I'd probably try to be some type of physical therapist, entrepreneur. I know growing up, playing football, going through high school, college, if I had an injury, and I see the trainer doing some type of exercise or some type of soft tissue work on a teammate or me, I know I was always asking questions like, what does this do? Like, what does that machine do you're putting on me? Like, how does it work? And stuff like that. So I was always infatuated in just like how the body works and how it moves. So for me, I feel like the physical therapist route would have been a good route to go.
Was that what you were majoring in college, or was that a little bit different?
Yes, sir. Health and human physiology.
Well, that's cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I've had some guests on here, and they've had some crazy like jobs lined up heading into the NFL. Like Alec Ingold, who's the fullback for the Dolphins, he was like, "Yeah, I was going to go into some business analytics. I can't even remember. It was just so like technical." And I'm like, "Well, I'm glad you're playing football because some jobs are better than others. I think PT would have been really fun for you." But yeah, definitely working a 9-to-5 job, crunching numbers might not be my favorite thing per se, but to each their own, man. What would you like your legacy to be? I mean, I guess like as a person, but like in football as well.
The greatest runner to lead the game.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I've loved this game ever since I started playing the game. Ever since I picked up the ball, and I have a lot of passion for it, and I work very hard just to make sure I'm putting myself in a good position just to be successful. So I feel like you can do anything in this world you put your mind to. And I feel like I can be the greatest running back to ever live. So I'm going to do it.
And hey, you have to have the belief in yourself. Amen. I mean, with all that in mind, let's transition to what's your goals for this upcoming season?
I'll say short term, just to take advantage of every situation in training camp, because I came here during week 1 last year and I didn't get to have a full offseason, OTAs and training camp with these guys. So my short-term goal is just go in there and take advantage of every opportunity I can in camp so I can be ready for the season. Long-term, just put my name on the map. Put my name on the map. Go in there and just handle business, take care of business, and have fun. That's all you can do.
Simple enough, right? Well, yeah, to close this out, I've had an amazing time getting to know you over this last 25 minutes or so. I want to talk to you about your football camp that you're hosting July 13th of this upcoming summer at your alma mater, North Gwinnett High School. Can you tell me a little bit about the camp, why you wanted to put on the camp, what kids who show up can take away from it?
Yes, I wanted to throw the camp just because I was just giving back to the community, and I like to show them the recipe that I went through by bringing a couple folks I know to have an event to where these kids can do the same workouts I do and see what I do, just to see what it looks like. And I feel like that's the best thing about it. And it'll be up to them whether they just want to take it and go with it or just leave it there. And so I feel like that's the real reason I want to throw the camp, and just to show love to the community, because they've always shown the most respect and love to me. So it's only right that I give back.
See, that's my favorite thing about, I mean, it's cool watching an NFL player run for 150 yards in the game, but it's even cooler for me to see them give back to their communities and just cherish where they came from like that. That's incredible, man. I look forward to seeing the rest of your career play out. Is there anything else you want to touch on that we haven't already?
I'll just say to young folks coming up that's playing the game or just trying to accomplish a goal or a dream of your life, just don't let nobody tell you what you can and can't do. And whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. You just got to stay focused, consistent.
I mean, hey, for anybody out here listening this far in, write that down right there. Write down what Tyler just said, because that cannot hold any truer. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Have a great 2024 season.
Yes, sir.
I'm your host, Brooks Huber, signing off till next week. Thank you for listening to the Tyler Goodson episode on For the Athlete.
Thanks for listening to For the Athlete. As always, be on the lookout for another athlete appearance next week. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and wherever you listen to podcasts.